So with Marvel's road to Armageddon well underway at this point, some people say it starts here in Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon issue 1, others will say it started in Will of Doom issue 1, and others might say it started in Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion. However you look at it, if you were to just start here and then go back and catch up on all of those issues as well as some 2015 Captain America, then you'd be okay. But I'd argue that this issue by itself, it's really kicking into gear some things that have been cooking up for a while. So with that said, if you're enjoying these videos, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications. Alright, so first thing this does is start out with a crazy flashback that seems like nothing at first, aside from Wolverine just getting a drink at a bar, and then he's approached by a young lady, and it seems like a lot of small talk at first, with her asking him if his seat taken and making small conversation. And at the time when this lady had just met Logan, she was surprised to see how much he was drinking and the fact that it barely gave him a buzz. And it even had her like, man, I wish I had that mutant power. And she does have one that we'll talk about in a moment. And at first Logan thinks she's here just trying to get a free drink, but the woman's like, no, I pay my own way. And now trust me, it may not seem like it at first, but this is a very important interaction in Logan's past that we're revisiting here. Because next, when she orders a double scotch and Logan orders another bottle, the bartender tells Logan, man, you cleared me out. You sure you don't want to get some scotch like your new pal here? But Logan's not trying to stick around, so he asks the bartender how much I owe you. And the bartender's like $2.60 plus a generous tip to make up for you knocking out Big Roy. But long story short, when Logan goes to pay, he's like $20 short before the tip. And the lady's like, I got you. So that's where Logan's like, who are you? Trying to buy me a drink. And she tells him her name's Terry, and it's not a problem. Tourist season. Make good money as a tracker for wannabe hunters. Just before she tells him to hold still so she can wipe some of the glass out of his beard that's still there from his scuffle with Big Roy, though somehow Logan doesn't have a scratch. And while Logan's attention is on telling the bartender not to let her pay, cause he gonna make good tomorrow, Terry looks over to a guy across the bar who raises his glass, and before the two go their separate ways, Terry asks Logan if he has someone waiting for him at home, which of course sounds like another attempt at a pickup. And he just says, told you, not interested. And she's like, neither am I, just curious. And afterwards we see that mysterious gentleman and some others go after Logan. But truly what this flashback is doing is giving us a bit of extra context to what happened in Marvel Comics Presents issue 72, which was the first of many tellings on how Weapons Plus found Logan heading into their 10th installment. But this time, instead of us going into the information collected or even Wolverine's flashbacks, and I mean we still do the flashbacks, but instead of rehashing the story of Professor Thornton bringing in Dr. Abraham Cornelius, or any of the Romulus details added later, this story starts with Terry O. Barnes, the tracker who let them know where exactly they could find Logan. And after this, coming back to the present day, we see a guy running with some wolves in his birthday suit, which on most nights might have you like, oh, I know that guy, that's Logan. But even at a quick glance early on, it's made clear to us that this is someone else. And we'll learn more about the new guys as this story continues. Because next when we jump back to Logan, who's waking up from a nightmare that he's been having every day this past week, with him feeling like something or someone is gnawing at him. Which again, this is leaning very heavily on the Marvel Comics Present vibes from issue 72. With how it was the lead up to Weapon X. But this go around, and again back in the present day, Logan wakes up to find a very familiar face just below and across the street waiting on him. And this of course is none other than Terry O. Barnes, who has aged like a normal person, and she's come here to ask for Logan's help. But she doesn't go about it in the best way, with her telling him that she's having trouble finding a mutant. So Logan's like, oh, still hunting our kind? Still Terry O. Barnes mutant tracker for hire? But she doesn't do that anymore, and she didn't come all this way to find Logan just to apologize. And as it turns out, she's using her tracking powers to save mutants now. And at first it says Logan like, hey, like he's having a hard time believing that she didn't know what Weapon X was, or what they were gonna do to him, or what they were gonna do next. And it has her at a loss for words for a moment. But then she tells him there's a new super soldier project. There's always a new super soldier project, but this one's a private company. Name's Prime Warrior. And they've been taking a page from the Weapon X program. They've been going after mutants, ones like yourself, who can heal well. I've been staying ahead of them, warning people they've been targeting, but they finally managed to grab one. Young guy named Tyler Torrance, animalistic mutant powers, which he rarely displays. I was tracking him after the Black Ops squad took him, but he just disappeared. I couldn't sense him. At first I thought they may have killed him, but I can usually sense a fellow mutant for a while after death. His last location I could pick up was near Prime Warrior's facility outside Ozarks. I think they were onto me. I think they found a way to hide his mutant genes so I can't track him. And that's where Logan's like, or he's dead and they incinerated him. And you're just another fool trying to make up for your past sins. And that's where Terry just gets up and starts packing her stuff like, yeah, well, some of us don't have the X-Men to help with that. And you can tell Logan knows that he went a little bit too far with that last one, so he stops her and he lets Terry know that he'll help. But as they head on their way to the Prime Warriors facility outside of Ozark, Logan dozes off and he has another nightmare about Weapon X, which again really feels like Chip Zdarsky is bringing back some of the old school pre-House of M flashbacks that Logan would have prior to him getting his memories back. But after this, once they get close enough, they take the rest of the way on foot. And that's where Terry asks Logan if he's getting anything. So he tells her people and also burning. And at a first look, Terry isn't sure if this is something that Tyler did, the missing kid. But Logan tells her it was likely an explosion from something already inside. So Logan ends up grabbing a couple guys so they can use their hazmat suits and walk in for a closer look. And stuff like this always makes me chuckle, because imagine going to work one day and then Wolverine shows up, knocks you out and takes your clothes. But as soon as they go inside, they hear Professor Ash just going off. Because this is one of many attacks. The same happened with their Denver facility, their Billings facility, and now here with the bombers successfully avoiding all cameras. And dude is just like, it's a joke. We're a private military company that seemingly anyone could just waltz into and blow up. Then he's like, I'm calling Pruitt. I could tolerate losing the mutant, who they put about $10 million worth of upgrades in, but that box could change history. And now as Logan and Terry are looking around and try to piece things together, because they don't know if Tyler was also taken by the person who blew this place up, or if he was just freed. But then they come across some information on a particular box that ain't from around here, so to speak, as well as this Tyler kid. Because Logan plays back this video that says, unknown origin, trace this one's energy source back to northern Alberta. After the initial contact with them in New York, the readouts show immense power inside, seemingly with the mechanism to imbue someone with that power. Professor Ash wisely doesn't want it triggered, or else we may lose the ability to study and duplicate it. So now Logan and Terry are like, okay, the box, now we know what he's talking about. But there's still the question of who has it now. Did the mystery bomber steal it, or did Tyler take it? And now some of these things we won't get more details on until late May, when Reborn Ultimate Impact comes out with Miles Morales. But before that time comes, do be sure to check out Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion. Just saying. Because this origin box has quite the backstory. But as Logan keeps checking out more footage on this iPad Pro, it goes on to say, Day 17, subject is resisting the adamantium hybrid. It could simply be his regenerative abilities pushing back, or his will. Then one of the doctors says, I think we should increase the dosage, overwhelm the resistance. What do you think, Dr. Lou? And she's just like, worth a try, as poor Tyler's just begging them to stop. But as Logan's watching the poor kid go through it in this video, the same two doctors from the video walk in the room, and they're like, hey, this area is off limits. You're supposed to be taking care of the South Wing. Then one of them's like, wait, who are you? Oh God, it's him. As Logan pops his claws, and he gives these guys the young Vader treatment. And they over here looking like, Master Skywalker, there's too many of them. What are we going to do? And you could say they are younglings compared to Logan because he's old. And then when Logan's done, Terry gives him the shirt that Tyler had when he was abducted. And she asks him if that's enough for him to go off of. So Logan grabs it, he takes a couple sniffs, and he's like, that'll do. And they head on their way, but just outside, we see Professor Ash having that conversation with Pruitt, which is more along the lines of him going off again because of what has happened to his work. But on the other end, Pruitt is like, your work is my money, so I'm definitely feeling this as well. So the professor leans in a bit by bringing up the importance of the box, and once again, Pruitt is like, I know all this. So that's where the professor loses his cool again. And he tells Pruitt, you run a private military, hunt these, and I'm not sure exactly what word he used there. He might have said ninjas, or maybe not. Let me stop before something gets started. But he raises his tone at Pruitt by telling him, hey, you run a private military, hunt these something and others down. And he tells Professor Ash, I do, and I will. And if you ever talk to me like this again, I'll have my private military handle something else too. As one of his men puts a gun to the professor's head, as Pruitt wraps this up by telling the professor that he's gonna send a team to hunt for the box and the mutant. And right after that, word comes in about two of their scientists being attacked and having injuries that appear to be in line with a known enemy. So now they know Logan was there. So immediately Pruitt requests to be put on a call with Mortimer to have Frank Simpson flown in to take care of Wolverine, with Frank Simpson, also known as Nuke, being Weapon 7 from the Weapons Plus program. And you know, he has this thing about popping pills, with him having these adrenaline pills that come in red, white, and blue, where the red ones increase adrenaline, the white ones neutralize the previous effect, and the blue ones relax him. And now Nuke and Wolverine have quite the history, so when he gets this order, he's just like, can you do me a favor, sir? Can you give me a blue? And after this, we're sent to another flashback for Logan, That goes back to the Weapon X days, where at the time Dr. Cornelius was asking Professor Thornton, when all this is done, where does the perfect killing machine go? And the professor told him it's not your concern. Cornelius, like Erskine or Oppenheimer before us, we work on the science. Since the war, there have been many attempts at recreating a super soldier, another Captain America. It's foolish, don't you think? Steve Rogers was the man for the time. But those days are long gone. This world is one of shadows and blood, so we give them a killer, an animal, a monster. And now this flashback was more like a daydream for Logan, because now him and Terry continued on their way to track down Tyler. And just before this, even though Logan had told Terry to wait in the truck, she still got out and came along because she wants to see this through. And he knows that there's nothing he can do to stop her, but at the same time, it makes her a liability. And now with them moving on foot for what's been hours at this point, Terry says here, people in the shadows doing whatever they want to whoever they want, and no shortage of people willing to help them. And that's where Logan's like, no shortage of people willing to stand up to them either. And he tells her sometimes you gotta be the former before you're the latter. And that's definitely been Logan's journey, as we know. But I'm also glad that he's telling this to Terry, since this is the path that she's trying to take now. And he gets that. But from here they keep moving because the kid has a strong scent, but they gotta keep moving before Logan loses it. But then suddenly he tells Terry to stop when he notices an old school tripwire on the ground with a not so old school camera sitting right above it. And then without warning, boom, Logan catches the headshot. And he can just tell by the velocity and the experience of being shot that this was from long range. So he tells Terry to put it in reverse. He tells her to run, get out of here, just before he suits up and just races towards the shooter. And Logan's thought process at this point is like, there's no time to be cautious, gotta move quick. And whatever traps he springs, he just handles them along the way. But then he's like, okay, gunfire stopped. Doesn't mean the danger's over. It's never over. And as he races up to the top of this hill, he finds a cabin with the lights on. So he kicks in the door, but when he looks inside, he sees a shield. And he's like, wait a minute, that ain't Cap's shield. And that's where he hears a voice behind him saying, turn around real slowly, or I'll put a bullet in your friend here. And now this guy, David Colton, he thinks these guys are with Prime Warrior. So when Logan tells him like, easy pal, we're not here for you, we just want the kid, Colton's just like, sure you do. You want another damn super soldier, another damn Captain America. Well, the kid's gone. He's free. And God help anyone who tries to make it otherwise, as we get a bit of a teaser of Tyler's enhancements, and we get our first look at him popping claws. So yeah, let me know if you guys want me to cover more Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon. Drop a like, leave a comment so me and the algorithm can know. Because also, before issue 2 comes around in March, we can fill in some of the Captain America backstory. So when Ultimate Impact Reborn kicks off, we can have all of this on a playlist going into Avengers Armageddon. But let me know if that's something you guys want to do. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here, who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/DopeSpill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.